This is from our FOIA on the State Department about the Afghan withdrawal, that botched withdrawal that led to the deaths of 13 Americans. If you read at the top of the document, it says classification secret. So it was a classified secret document. And you know what it's about? It's not about how are we going to get our troops out safely, how are we going to get our allies out safely, that the interpreters and the people who we know the Taliban wants to kill because they assisted the United States military effort. How are we going to get them and their families out? No, it's not about that. It's about environmental cleanup.
What I think this really highlights is that we all know that it was a bad batched withdrawal. What we didn't know necessarily was that it was pretty planned out, that they had all of these plans set in place to leave, including all of this environmental protection. But what they didn't do was actually plan the real withdrawal, what to do with the people, what to do with the equipment, how the chaos could break out. So yes, there was actually thought put into this withdrawal, a new piece of information, but that thought process stopped after your environmental protection.
Listen to this. This is a sitcom letter that went out. The first line, we request an exception to some standards outlined below. They were too difficult for them to meet. But listen to this quote. Hazardous waste must be disposed of before the U.S. force leave Afghanistan. Not our Afghan allies must have a plan to be relocated before the U.S. leaves Afghanistan. Not we need to ensure a secure barrier for our troops before we leave Afghanistan. Not we need to get rid of the documents at our embassy before we leave Afghanistan because they thought they were going to be there for months. No, the priority was not what was happening on the outside, not figuring out what the Taliban was up to, or potentially other groups like ISIS-K who claim responsibility for that attack. No, it wasn't about that. The focus was on making sure we left no hazardous waste behind. That's the problem of the climate religion, is that it gets people killed.
Right. It ends up being the lead focus when we know we all could feel.
It's not the military's job.
No. And look, again, we're not saying go in there and just leave it. Like, just if you had cleaned up everything, gotten the equipment out,
part of it,
done it, and been a part of it, we wouldn't be sitting here complaining about it. We wouldn't be sitting here saying there's a problem if the withdrawal was successful. But we know
2 years to get this document.
No, exactly. They released this, which was, by the way, a classified document.
Yep.
Which sometimes in a FOIA request, sometimes you get the classifieds, sometimes you don't. It's not very redacted. You can look at it yourself. I'm sure we can probably post it here fairly soon if we haven't already, where you can go through and see it. All it is essentially just a write-up on how they're going to clean everything up, make everything nice.
One of the lessons that we're going to learn from this latest document dump that we were able to get because we stayed on it is the idea that the Biden team has white papers and plans like academics, and they really don't know how to adjust when the real world comes crashing down on their white paper plans. And this document shows, look, they had a plan that didn't go well, that didn't go as the academics back in Washington, D.C. thought it would. And we need to be able to have real-time, real-world adjustments, and that's not what happened in the Afghanistan withdrawal.
We did a whole documentary series called Revenge of the Taliban. I never once thought about the fact that there was time and care put into the withdrawal because it just didn't feel that way. Yeah. It felt like a promise that had to be made in the last minute. The decision was just decided. No, what we find out here is actually was care put in place, but in the wrong spot.
Right. Is that, again, their priority is hazardous waste and climate. The priority is not lives, human lives. And again, we didn't remove the tanks. We didn't remove the planes. We didn't remove the ammunition. And in fact, we have John Kirby. Remember he said, oftentimes when we withdraw, we have to leave people behind, including Americans. They knowingly left Americans behind. They knowingly left our allies behind, who we promised, if you assist us and things go south, we will take care of you and your family. And America's broken promises do matter.
We have to still hold the Biden administration accountable for how failed this was. And this is just another piece of this Afghanistan withdrawal. This sounds like this show should have been two or 3 years ago, but we're actually able to continue work, and we're able to do it at the ACLJ. We're able to get this information to people. No one would know that this is what it was without us.
With all this environmental cleanup, and we've got the documents showing it, they never once mentioned, hey, maybe we should get rid of the helicopters. Hey, maybe we should get rid of the guns. Hey, maybe we should get rid of all the ballistics equipment and the gear and the bulletproof vest and the night vision goggles. Maybe we should do something about that. But no. Environmentalism wins out over protecting human life. This is the ACLJ, 2 years of work to get this information.